the first movie I felt like I was really like proving myself the entire time, and here I felt like Austin had to prove himself. I can't believe that Denis, he has like an indie sensibility. There'll be a nice sunset and he's got a camera, just go into it. So I can't believe it's a movie of this size with source material that's so rich, like Lord of the Rings level dense, and that he's tackling it with an indie mentality. So that I can't believe that we've been a part of.
I didn't get to experience Dune, you know? Like I think when I got to see the first movie, I got to see it kind of like a fan who had never seen anything before, because I was only there for like a week. So I had so many questions, and like I wanted to know what the sets look like and how they film these things. And yeah, I just felt very lucky to be able to come back into it, because I was like, oh, now I get to see how the magic is made, you know, and I get to be a part of it.
I loved the first film so much. I saw it on the biggest screen that I could find, and I saw it multiple times before I even knew that I was going to be a part of this one. So I was just overjoyed and so excited to be a part of the story.
Ditto. Yeah, I felt like I hadn't seen an epic like that in a long while, and the world felt the same. And so it was that wonderful feeling of everybody talking about the correct thing, the right thing. It made sense. I watched it a few times before I knew that it was even a conversation to be in the second one. And then I watched it again once I knew I was in the second one. And I think again, like I think you pick up new things each time, and it's just as impressive. It's a very surreal feeling to know that you're a part of something that will be spoken about for years and studied for years because of what Denis has created. Like it's a very bizarre feeling that we're a part of something so large and means so much to so many people just by the first movie. And then to be in the second one is like, oh, this is gonna grow even bigger, which is wild to think.
When things are so big, I think there's a massive pressure, right? Obviously, because you want to do well and you want to do justice to the source material, to the fans. I mean, there's very clearly a lot of pressure, you know, and also you want to do well for Denis, because you can see how passionate he is about it and how much he loves it, and like it feels like a childhood dream a little bit. And I think that passion makes all of us want to do a better job too. And you feel so safe also on his sets. You know, he creates a place where everybody wants to do their best and wants to work hard, because you feel like you're a part of something massive, and then also makes you feel very, very small too, in a good way. Because you're like, oh, I get to be a part of this special thing with all these other people, and we're all working to make something
real.
Yeah, together.
I came in with a lot of respect, you know, a lot of respect for everybody involved, for every actor involved, Denis, Greg Fraser, every head of department. Like the group was just the top of the game. So I always get nervous beforehand. So there's a lot of respect and that sort of. But very quickly it didn't feel intimidating. It just was very fun.
Very quickly it stopped being intimidating.
Dang.
No, because my first week was the Gladiator week. So it was 110 degrees and it was so hot. It just
You were in a
breaks you
frying
down.
pan.
You're melting, right?
Yeah, and you got the bald cap on. And it was between two sound stages that were just these gray boxes of 200-foot walls and
It's
sand,
hot there.
and it was 110, so it became like a microwave.
I remember
I was worried
Denis
about
describing it
That was
as,
wild.
he was like, yeah, Austin's good, he's been fighting in a frying pan, and I was like, ha! He was like, no, seriously.
No, there's people passing out from heat stroke. And that was the first week, so it kind of
Welcome.
yeah, it bonds the entire crew. You know, I think it kind of
your
there's something so humbling about being in that uncomfortable an environment.
Jesus.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
I had read the novel already. I'd read it when I was about 15, so this was always a character that I had loved from reading the book, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And then the way Denis described it was so much darker than I had even read in the novel. And the way that he described Fade, he said, I want him to be physically imposing, and it was just so delicious. I couldn't say no.
I think we shared the same Kali instructor in LA, but doing different sort of sessions. And then as soon as we got to Budapest, our day one, like scripted fighting.
Fight.
Yeah, rehearsed fighting. The gravitas of everyone that was there, and to shoot the fight practically, and also with Austin, who was so respectful between takes, but then within a take was totally like letting loose and kicking ass. It was great. The first movie, I felt like I was really like proving myself the entire time, and here I felt like Austin had to prove himself.
Also, to do it in front of other people as well. Like, it's one thing doing a stunt scene with another stuntie in front of stunties, but like, you did it in a room full of people for days.
Yeah.
That were expecting to be entertained. It was like the gladiators.
Yeah.
It was like, we're like, and perform.
And I like the switch. Like, you guys, again, they would kick each other's ass, and then after be like, hey bro, you okay? You okay? You know, you check in on each other, and that.
Christopher Walken was pretty scared for you guys as well.
Was he?
Yeah?
Yeah, he was like, do they have to be fighting so close? I was like, I think so.
You said that, really?
Yeah, he was getting really worried.
Some new Fremen prophet.
It's not the first time we've had frictions with the Fremen.
None of this magnitude. So, my dear daughter, how would you deal with this prophet?
If this Muad'Dib is a religious figure, you can't use direct force. Repression only makes a religion flourish. You'll only end up humiliating yourself.
You underestimate my Sardaukar.
You underestimate the power of faith.
And I think what I loved about the script and what I loved about being able to watch her grow is she's constantly listening and constantly aware. And you're not quite sure what she's listening for or what she's looking for. And then it's only, towards the end where you realize that she's been on top of it from the beginning. And I think I really enjoyed playing someone that was that calculated, in all honesty, and someone that cares. I think she deeply does care. And she's been taught by her father, so she's very smart, and she's trying to put the pieces together. She's someone that doesn't know the answers, and yet she's someone that is supposed to be one of the best students of Mother Mahayam. So, like, she's clearly got a lot of skill behind her, and she's unbelievably powerful and unbelievably dangerous, technically, like with the skills that she has and the power that she has. I really, really enjoyed plotting her and allowing her to just be, knowing that hopefully there'll be more to come and more ways for us to understand her. There's something very magical about working with a very, very talented costume designer, and you really never need to worry. And of course you can collaborate and talk about what works best on your body and yada, 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 but realistically, like, it is a privilege to be looked after by people that talented. Also, when she showed me that I was wearing a chainmail dress, I was like, great.
Love it.
Love that for me. Headdress, put it on me. It's their art that you want to be on your body, on your skin. I personally don't really want to put any spanners in the work, because it's a joy to wear clothes that have been designed for you and your character. And you learn so much more about your character through these talented people that have been spending years, if not, months or years, just obsessing over what they think you should look like. I learned so much about Princess Irulan from just my first costume fitting. Like, in the script, you never know what version of a princess you're gonna play. I assumed it was gonna be with lots of decadence and jewels. The sets are so huge and magnificent that when you're in your trailer and you're wearing your outfit, you feel a bit silly, but when you go on them, it all makes sense. And like, that final scene in the Emperor's tent, one of the set designers was saying that they based it on a Rolex watch, like on the way that the links went like this. And then it was like, wow, that makes so much sense that the richest tent in the world is based off a big Rolex. Like, this is amazing. But then you put all of our costumes in, and it makes it more believable and makes it more understandable. I think, yeah, for me personally, it made sense standing on them, whereas it didn't make sense standing in my trailer.
Sitting here and listening to Z and Austin and Florence, and the thing that's coming to mind for me and the experience I had with them in this movie is they're like superpower actors, and all I mean by that is somehow they know instinctually how to exist in a movie of this size and like really bring a really strong presence, but also keep the naturalism alive and make it believable. And it's something I feel like I was more achieved at on this one, but on the first one, it was like a new skill set to me to be on something of this size and somehow pick your pockets, whereas the other movies I've been doing were scenes that were so natural, were in a setting that was so naturalistic that you didn't have to make that leap.
Your blood comes from dukes and great houses. We don't have that here. Here, we're equal. Men and women alike. What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
I remember having early conversation with Denny, and he'd be like, and somewhere in this movie I have to make a love story happen, right? So it's like, how do we build, and now with this kind of this newfound attitude with Chani of resistance towards this love, right? What happens now? How do we build something, and how do we make it honest and real? And so we had to earn it, you know, like every scene and every moment. I remember like, he's like, I'm gonna ask you guys in every scene, I'm gonna have you guys do glances. And he was like, I'm not gonna use all of them, but I just want the option. Because you can do so much with just being able to share a glance between two people, you know? And so I remember every scene, it was like, we're gonna do a glance pass.
Yeah.
You know, just look at him through the crowd or watch him, you know? And even simple moments like that are us earning their love story.
Whenever you skew even a little bit from source material, it gets like dicey. But when it's really felt, when it's felt by the director most importantly, but the actor and the actress, and here what especially what Zendaya brought to it, this sort of like inner turmoil where it wasn't immediately in an act of servitude or a religious fanaticism that Paul's immediately the Messiah, but rather something she's actually struggling with. The way I took it on set, I don't know if Denis or Z saw, but I saw a lot of contemporary metaphors and a lot of relationships that people have, where, you know, people have consciousness of why they're attracted to somebody, but then the reasons why they shouldn't be, you know, or beliefs that they have otherwise that would limit them. So I thought it added a complexity to it that almost made the moments that were where they're synchronized the more, I don't want to say challenging, but more like things we had to figure out. Not so much when they were in tension, which actually felt really truthful to the script and what they would be going through.
I listened to the book over and over again, you know, to see if there was things that I missed or things that, you know, about her that I could hold on to until I got the chance to get back. And I think something that I really appreciated about what Denis did with Chani is he does give her convictions and heart. And I think in the book, I think she kind of immediately acquiesces to the fact that like he's the Messiah, and you know, and she never questions it. She just goes along with it. I liked the way that Denis started to dig out this identity for her. That was, I think, for me, exciting to play because it was a little more complicated, that it was harder for her to love this person because of what they represented to her and her having to like get over that. And it's constantly something that she's battling inside of herself when every time she's like, you know, I love him, but then so it gave me something more to hold on to. And I appreciated that from Denis in explaining, you know, kind of his version of what Chani is or represents. To try to like, I think we talked about this when we were doing the first film, but like to try to shrink it down to something that like maybe I could understand. I'm not like a Duke or anything, but I think there is a lot of, you know, just the idea of like wanting to live up to you know, your parents, or, you know, the pressures that are set for you, or a legacy that's already there, or and in many ways I think for this film it's like there is a legacy of this film and wanting to live up to that, you know, in many ways as human beings, just wanting to like live up to expectations that are, you know, maybe projected upon you, you know. And I think Paul has really no choice. I think all the characters, I feel like it seems, don't really have a choice. I think the plans within plans have already been made for them, you know. I think it's just that feeling of wanting to try to live up to something and maybe not always knowing what that even is.
Have you ever had a dream about your first ride?
Don't try to impress anyone. You're brave, we all know that. Be simple. Be direct. Nothing fancy.
I understand. Nothing fancy.
The worm unit?
The worm unit. You go to the worm unit, and Denis' wife and producer Tanya LaPointe was sort of directing the worm unit. You get there and there's a ladder, and you go up the ladder and you go on a platform, and then I think there's another ladder, and you go on a little slab of worm that is like what all they've practically built, like a scale. And then you got 2 gripping devices. And
You're getting real technical.
you get the maker hooks. You get the maker hooks.
Are they attached?
They were attached, and then but it was
They
there was
measure it
yeah.
out. So that you
There was a
can
certain
have the right-
technique to keeping it taut that we talked about like last week. That was just that. I think Z came into a little bit easier than me. I saw the playback and I was like, I want to do that again, but it was too late. We already
I don't get what you talk about this, but like you looked great riding
in the
wild.
movie, you don't see it. In the movie, they used 3 seconds of it. But
He's
on the
talking
day,
about
it was
wrist
the arms.
positioning.
I think it was the wrists.
Yeah.
What
it
were
was
your
the-
wrists doing?
There was
Yeah.
yeah.
They
We
were a
figured
bit
it out.
flimsy.
I don't know if they were flimsy. I think it was an angle. It was just an angle thing. Z was strong. Z was immediately strong.
And you were.
Like I said, I was, you know, I was back here. I was doing the Austrian 1800s technique.
Oh yeah.
See, okay.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Now I
yeah,
know.
we were just saying that there's like no real frame of
Yeah.
reference for what it's supposed to look
You
like.
both look great. Like
Super
really
strong.
cool.
Thank you.
You look really cool.
But we also have amazing stunt people.
She said it. I was like, are we gonna say this? It's true.
No. But they kind of they figure things out before we get
Yeah.
there, and so they have already thought about the intricacies of where what wrist position you should be and how your leg should be, you know. So with that, I was like, okay, if it looks good on them, how do I
Yeah.
do what they're doing?
Yeah.
You know, and I try to, you know, find the positioning as much as you can. And
And then there was an industrial fan
Yeah.
in your face. You know,
Action!
blowing sand. And
Did
smoke.
they put dust and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
dust and
sand.
sand. And,
Getting your eyes alive?
oh, it
We
was.
have
I couldn't believe I had to go. My eyes. Yes, we did one take. I love the sandwalk in the first one. I love it in this film. Z came to it very quickly. It's one of my favorite memories on set that I had to go sandwalk off into the distance.
We did a little. We did
A
a
little
little. We changed
A little zhuzh,
bit,
yeah,
a little
yeah.
change,
Well,
but
you relearned it properly, and then I guess I wasn't doing it 1,000% correctly.
because you were. Yeah, you
I was adding a little zhuzh to it. I was adding a little zhuzh. Creative
They're like,
license.
you guys have to do it at the same time. And I was like, let's just 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8.
Get this down.
Yeah.
I love that bit in the first movie and in the second. I love you
Yeah.
learning how to do it on
Yeah.
the hologram,
Yeah.
and it's just such a magical movement, and it's always in moments of utter terror,
Yeah,
and
that
you're
you
just
have to
like
sandwalk.
so beautifully gliding across the sand. It's amazing.
Well choreographed.
Yeah, you're very
Yeah.
good at both of you are very good at doing it. How's your sand walk?
I haven't practiced.
Well,
Do you like to
here's
learn?
your moment.
Yeah, now's the time.